Recording in progress.
Hi, everybody. Christine Williams here, owner and instructor with Accredited Real Estate Institute. I've been a licensed real estate instructor in the state of Florida since 2006. So, gosh, real estate has changed so much, particularly in the past couple of years. We have all of this stuff going on in regards to national lawsuits and commissions and our compensation and disclosures and whatnot. So, we'll talk about that some other time. Let's talk about rent shaming. Um, I'm sure a lot of you have seen that on social media, and maybe you're engaging in it and don't realize that that's exactly what you're doing. We've all seen those posts that are going around for at least the last couple of years, and there's screenshots of what a typical mortgage payment would be on a purchase price, which first and foremost, you've got to stop that unless you're a licensed mortgage loan officer. There are legal disclosures, federal disclosures that you have to give. There's big old fine print at the bottom of each of those when a mortgage lender does it, when they give a payment and a purchase price, down payment, a sample interest rate, because you have to disclose at the bottom the APR and a bunch of other information. So first and foremost, if you're a realtor and you're just sharing those, shame on you if you're just creating your own. Second of all, if a mortgage person is doing it and you're sharing it, as long as they have that disclosure, that's a different topic. But we're not really here to talk about the specifics of the numbers. Let's talk about the concept, okay? So that's rent shaming. If you were sitting there showing a typical payment just for informational purposes to say, hey, if you're paying rent or if this is something that you can afford, let's talk. I'd love to help you get into a home. What's happening though is a lot of folks are engaged, and again, the term I'm using is rent shaming. There are folks that are making posts about you're wasting money on rents. If you're throwing away money on rent, this is what you're spending this year, and that's just a waste because you could have your own home and be gaining equity. So we need to be careful making broad general statements like that. What we need to remember first and foremost, what I always preach is real estate is about relationships. If you are coming across very aggressive and assertive with these pictures and graphs and screenshots of an alleged average mortgage payment for purchase price, again, you may be engaged in per Article 12 of the Code of Ethics, which I teach Code of Ethics, by the way, which is all about honest advertising. You may be violating Article 12 of the NAR Code of Ethics. Realtors must be truthful in all advertising, and to avoid misleading advertising, realtors must disclose their license status in advertising so that buyers and sellers will not believe they're dealing with a private owner. It also goes on to talk about disclosing terms in regards to blind ads, quoting different things for different people, putting the word realtor in your advertising. Don't sell consumers information without disclosing the policies, et cetera, et cetera. So there's pages and pages of the do's and don'ts on the standards of practice under Article 12 of false advertising. So let's talk about that. If you are telling somebody on social media, hey, date the rate, marry the house, that could allegedly be false advertising. We have no idea what the interest rates are going to do. The Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, who's in charge, the chairman, has been telling us for 2 years, that interest rates would be going down. He said they were going down in 2023, and then he said they were going down in 2024. As I'm sitting here talking to you today, it is May 2024, and they have just again decided to keep interest rates up because inflation is still up. The job market is down. It's not the number of new jobs created they had anticipated, and we're in an economic mess. So interest rates are in a holding pattern until God knows when. So all those people that you told 2 years ago, go ahead, just date the rate, marry the house. You can always refinance later when rates go down. Well, here it is 2 years later, and their interest rates have not gone down in the meantime. And it's particularly, I can speak competently on Florida real estate because that's where I have lived since 1993, and I've been selling real estate here for over 25 years. So I can tell you for sure in Florida, and it is like this in a lot of states as well, is homeowners insurance has gone up exponentially. Oftentimes it's gone up 4 times the amount of what it was 2 years ago. The average homeowners insurance policy in Florida is now over $10,000 a year. So that is about $800 a month added to the monthly payment. If it's escrowed in, which it normally is, normally a monthly mortgage payment. If there's a loan involved, is PITI, right? Principal, interest, taxes, and payments. So that includes the property taxes and the insurance. Let's add on to the fact that FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, has completely redone the flood map. So for a lot of people here in Florida in particular, they were not in a flood zone before Hurricane Ian, and now suddenly, as of March or April of 2024, they're in a flood zone. So suddenly they have to buy a flood insurance policy. So that could be $800, $1,000, $2,000 a year. So that adds into the payment. Their interest rate, maybe they got it at 7%, 7.5%. So maybe that, that stays the same, but the monthly payment's going up accordingly because the insurance has gone up. So then let's talk about HOA fees. 45% of homes in the state of Florida, which is in an HOA, and that is one of the top states that has HOAs. But nationally speaking, HOAs are growing across the country. So HOAs, those fees are going up again because insurance has gone up. So HOAs have to have a master policy to cover the common areas. So if their insurance policy, their liability policy has gone up for the community, then the HOA fees are going to go up on the individual homeowners. So the HOA fees, whether they pay monthly or quarterly, those have gone up as well. So that's another factor involved. Then the other thing that changed in the last few years, one of the many changes we've had, is now if you have to replace your air conditioner unit, there's two components. There's the inside and the outside. There's the condenser and the compressor. The compressor's outside, condensers looks like a big old tunnel thing, you typically in a closet inside your home. That's how we do central air conditioning in Florida typically. So it used to be if one part went kaput, you could just replace that component. And the law changed, I think it was a couple of years ago, that now you have to replace the entire unit. So, of course, that varies on the size of the unit, the size of the home, et cetera, et cetera. But that's easily a $12,000 expense just to replace the air conditioner. And I'm here to tell you, if you're living in Florida, you're going to want air conditioner in your home. So there are other expenses that go into owning a home. Is home ownership a great thing? Of course it is. I've been in real estate for 25 years. I've owned homes. I've also rented. I do like the mental concept of owning a home. However, I am currently renting. I relocated to a different part of the state, Southwest Florida. I love the quality of life here and certain things that Southwest Florida offers that you cannot get in other parts of the state. So I purposely relocated. I'm self-employed. I'm single. So my income is derived from mostly sales of homes, right? We all know we don't sell a home every month. So first and foremost, getting qualified for a mortgage when you're self-employed is a challenge. So either you legally write off all of your business expenses to reduce your income, to reduce your tax liability, or you don't write off your expenses and you spend a lot of money every month on both personal and professional expenses so that you can qualify for a mortgage, and then you don't have money left over to save for the down payment to buy the house. So it's a never-ending cycle. There are people that are relocating to Florida because they're just tired of the weather, or maybe just there's new laws in their state they just don't agree with anymore. We know this happens. Florida has the #1 net migration of any state the last few years. So people are coming in droves. They're still coming in. So let's talk about supply and demand. The more they come and the less inventory there is, the higher the prices go. That's simple economics. So that has driven the cost of housing up, in addition to those other things we just talked about: insurance, homeowners fees, all that good stuff, just the cost of maintaining the home. So yes, rent is ridiculously high. And yes, there's no tax benefit to renting. That is an absolute fact. However, instead of rent shaming people on social media with those posts, let's think about what's best for the person. I have recently met somebody, and this is not the first time. A friend introduced me to another lady. They literally walked into my office last week And she said, hey, I'm so glad you're here. So-and-so is coming to visit. She'll be moving down in the fall. She's going through a life situation. She's going through a lifestyle status change, shall we say. And so she's ready to just start her life over, a new chapter. So she's going to move to Florida. So her finances are going to look a lot different than they did. And she doesn't know her area well at all. So she wants to rent to kind of get acclimated and kind of, slide into her new life and get settled before she commits to the big purchase of a home. Because as we all know, you've got down payments and you have closing costs in association to a home purchase. So that's a big chunk of money. So she needs to make sure this is where she wants to be, that it jives with her, and that's the lifestyle she's going to want before she goes and spends $80,000 on a down payment for 20% for a $400,000 house, which, by the way, a $400,000 house in Southwest Florida, that's already a challenge. So I'm going to show you some statistics here on some of these things we're talking about in regards to the reality of a person that you're rent shaming, where perhaps maybe it really is cheaper for them to rent right now, because the reality is there aren't a lot of, perhaps in particular, single people who are going to have that big chunk of money for the down payment and the closing cost. So I'll show you an example. Let's see if I can pull that up right now. Let's see here. Cross your fingers, I can pull it up. Let's go into, I want to get to just my files. Let's see here. That's not really working, is it? Files. See if it's on my drive. Let's see if we can get in here. Hang tight just a minute. There we go. Let's look at this real quick. See if we're sharing this with you. Oh, where'd it go? I hate when it does that. Let's see. Okay, do you guys see that? So let's get into screen share. It is right here. Let me show you this. Okay, sorry about that. Let's take a look at that. So this is a $500,000 house, which, by the way, in March in the Sarasota County area, the median price of a house was $515,000. The average price of a single family home in the city of Sarasota was 1.5 million. So let's just take the 500,000. So let's say that they're going to put just, pardon me, 5% down. That's $25,000 they need cash. Okay, that's the down payment. Then, of course, there's closing costs. And in Florida, pardon me, it's typically 3 to 4% of the purchase price. So 3% of $500,000 is another $15,000. So someone is going to need $40,000 cash just to purchase the home. Now, those interest rates that we see, that's, 7.2, 7.5, maybe it's, whatever, 7%. Those are based on excellent credit, meaning typically a credit score of 8 or 850 and above. So let's say the person has a 700 credit score. That's still very good, but they're not going to get that market rate that you see. So anyway, for this purpose, let's just say that it's 7.5%. They're going to do a 30-year loan. They're going to have PMI because they're not putting 20% down. Remember, they're only putting 5% down. So they've got PMI, homeowners insurance. I'm putting the average of $10,000. Their monthly HOA fee is $600 a month, which that is absolutely not unusual. I did not even put flood insurance in here. And property taxes of $6,000. That's frankly probably on the low end. So when it's all said and done, for a $500,000 house, this person needs $40,000 cash, and their monthly mortgage payment is going to be over $5,400 a month. So, my friends, that if you're listening, let's stop rent shaming. Let's look at the situation. My mantra that I always say is real estate is about relationships. Yes, we need sales. No, I do not handle rentals. What I do is I provide a list or recommended places for people to go. I do not spend my money driving people around looking at apartments or rentals. I would be in the negative. I'm here to make sales. I'm here to list homes, sell homes. I'm here to work with buyers that purchase. However, Stop rent shaming people on social media. Renting is a good option for some folks depending on their situation. So let's all be good stewards of the real estate industry, and let's look at people on a case by case basis. It is not a blanket situation for everybody, and it's not a one size fits all situation. So now that the media is calling us members of the cartel, let's take a look at how we can change the narrative by looking at the people and the situation and what's best for them and not what is best for our pockets. See you next time.